Hi, this is Alicia Marie Belshak, Life Mastery Consultant and your guide for standing firm when your world is shaking. I have been on a deep dive quest for the last couple of weeks, and I haven't had a chance to come to you in my normal, usual format that I've been doing for the last 12 or so weeks. So, I wanted to come to you live and just share with you a little update. I've been having an awesome, quiet, contemplative day all by myself in solitude for the very first time since March 13th. I have no one in the house with me. I have no little people running around. I have no husband in the house. I have no client calls. I have no virtual Zoom classes or anything going on. For the very first time, I actually have the entire house to myself, and the energy, freedom that has given me. Whew, I really needed the break. I've been kind of on a break for the last couple of weeks inadvertently, and I wanted to share with you the process that I've been going through in my own personal experience so that you could understand, if in case it resonates, in case it's like something you're going through too. Because sometimes when we are dealing with so much going on personally, professionally, pandemically, protesting wise. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. So if you're feeling the way I've been feeling, or you're just noticing yourself worn out, exhausted, maybe more stressed than usual, it's probably normal. You're probably really normal. You're not alone. So I actually spent some time reflecting, and I wrote something, and I wanted to share it with you because as a writer, I really love words, and I think this is probably the best way to say it versus just off the cuff. So let me experiment and make sure that this works and get that over as I switch my apps. Okay, here we go. So here are my reflections while I'm celebrating my solitude on June 20th, 2020. As I said before, this is the first time since March 13th that I'm finally and truly alone in the house with no kids or husband around. Yay! Oh, that is a long time to go with other energy bodies and personalities bumping into you. Trust me. Oh, I love the quiet. I love the peace. I love the freedom and the space. I love the solitude. And here's why. Here's what's been going on. Here's the backstory. Beyond the constant demands of the physical needs of these last few months, there has always been the emotional and psychological washing over us. As a sensitive soul and an empath, that's a lot to handle every day with no real break in sight. Even if we are separated in different rooms, we're a family of 5, so it's not always enough. I can still sense people, and I'm hyper aware of the emotional and energetic state of the household, and it was really starting to take its toll on me and burn me out. So, celebrate with me, right? I am so very grateful for the real respite and the rejuvenation of this deep energy right now. The freedom of the energetic space to soak in and allow myself to expand without having to hold so tight to boundaries. These last couple weeks have been especially tough. I was not just grumpy. Full disclosure, very vulnerable here. I was downright agitated and angry almost all the time. And the kids were constantly on my nerves. Heck, everything was on my nerves. Even the normal stuff. The household logistics, the sounds of the house or the neighborhood, being touched or even just being too close to me in my personal space. I just wanted to be left alone and have the world, as shrunken and small as it has become, to just go away. I was drained and exhausted no matter how much sleep or coffee I had, and I was still diligently taking all of my amino acids and health supplements for my brain and body. So what was my excuse? My joints ached, especially my hips, knees, lower back, and elbows. Not as bad as years ago, when I could feel my toes even, and my ankles and fingers and wrists, as well as everything else, and it was excruciating. Hallelujah, that wasn't the case, but it was still achy enough to be dissuading me from wanting to move around much, and thus exacerbating the not getting enough done issues and the mental mindset. I felt as if I couldn't think straight for too long, and I worried that my brain burnout was returning. I had only just started to feel like my old self fully again after the new year here in 2020, and it had been almost 4 years since my pea soup, as I call it, my pea soup experience back in February, March 2016. On top of all of that, I was super stressed out about getting all of the bare minimum tasks for just basic life functioning done, with as many people in my house and most of them being little. So many of these things were starting to descend into even more chaos than usual, and as they piled up, I was getting more stressed out. So, with the best intentions, and every mom out there can resonate with this, I yelled, I begged, I bargained, I bribed, all those things with the kids to help, get them to help, but I just couldn't motivate them to pick up the slack. Big surprise, right? You don't have to imagine my kitchen right now because you wouldn't be able to picture it. So plus, apparently, in the midst of all of this, I had consciously or unconsciously decided to carry the burden on my shoulders of trying to solve all the real world problems this family, my family, is facing, and the deadlines to get those projects done. For us, and I'm sure you have your own, it is, for us, the home repairs for some city code compliance issues, figuring out the finances that we all have to deal with these days, managing everyone's mental, spiritual, and physical health, and arranging all of our virtual appointments and maintaining a schedule. So, this was particularly tough for us, for me, because we were just coming out of a 6-week-long period where my husband had been working 60 hours a week in his job as an essential worker at Amazon. And then he got super sick for over a week, like almost 10 days. The doctor test did eventually reveal he had a bacterial infection in his intestines, so it wasn't COVID-19, but in the middle of all that, I'm single parenting still, or what I perceive as single parenting. So here I am. I'm working on the physical realm to keep kids away from him and try to support him and help him get better. I'm taking care of all the things that need to be done as best as I can, while also still trying to attend to my own self-care and any recovery that I needed. And as I was really crashing out and cashing in, even unwillingly. And I resisted. I fought it. I was thinking, I'm supposed to function effectively, efficiently, effortlessly, all the time. It sounds crazy when I spell it out like that, right? So, without realizing it, I had become a raw, sore, and open walking nerve ending. And it was affecting everyone around me and triggering their anxieties too. And quite frankly, I think the entire family felt the same way. We just all needed a break from each other. It wasn't pretty. And I'm not happy about it, nor am I proud. But I'm sharing it with you because it is entirely human. And it is to be expected. This is what life with chronic stress looks like. And even toxic stress. This is what the borders of slipping into deeper states of grief and depression and despair looks like. At least for me. What does it look like for you? So I'm sharing all this now because I think we need to talk openly about this stuff way more. These are not just mental health issues. There's spiritual, physical, all sorts of issues going on here. And especially with everything going on in the world right now, this is a critical junction for human history. we have all been under extreme duress and put to the test in so many ways. My story is just one of millions, and yours is one of them too. We all have different shades and dynamics, but still, it's that of plumbing the depths of this human experience, this existence in rapidly changing times. We must remember we are not sprinting here. We are really running a marathon. Over the last 5 years, I personally have intentionally grown exponentially in my personal, spiritual, emotional, and psychological abilities to more skillfully navigate the storms of life, both inward and outward. Yet even in all of that, with all the tools, the practices, the insights, the wisdom that I have for life mastery, I can still reach my breaking points where I hit a wall for a bit. I just want to share with you. It is hard as hell. And it is also the good news. Yeah, right. No, really. This is the new green growing edge. This is the place where it is so important to be fully supported so you don't shrink away from the uncomfortable stuff. It's in the breakdown that we find the breakthrough. I got mine, both the breakdown and the breakthrough. Once I finally let go of resistance in the last week and allowed all the grief that built up, all the pain, the sorrow, the overwhelm, the anger, all the not enough done, the no support and help, I'll never get better, it'll never get better, all those feelings and the self-imposed expectations to perform, once I let that fully be felt, I was free. Free to reboot and really refresh. And I had to give in. I had to give up for a while and allow the exhaustion and demotivation to exist long enough to dissolve it. Not through sheer force of willpower, however, but through a process that I'm calling deep self-care. So, where am I now? Well, as a result of all of this past week has been much better. I have been back on track. I feel the upswing, feeling my energy return, the mental clarity. I'm feeling as though I'm really coming back to life after having gone through a dormant period. But first, I had to allow that period. I had to sit with all the hard stuff for a long, painful week before this one in order to get to this past week and to today, to this day that I have the glorious solitude. And that solitude is exactly the medicine I needed to complete this phase of healing. Looking back, I think my soul, my spirit was desperately crying out over the last few weeks. I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't see it. And even if there was the passing thought, I just need a break, which I did have those thoughts, I didn't even really know how to give myself one, especially because we're still in a COVID-19 self-quarantine precaution kind of place in my household. So apparently, true contemplative solitude, just being with nobody else around, is one of the ways deep self-care is showing up for me. At least that's what I'm learning. Now I'm armed with that awareness, and I have the power to do something. I get to decide to pay attention, to give myself the gift of solitude in some regular way, some reliable basis. Still to be determined, but I'm proud to say it is a work in progress. So, thank you. Thank you to all the support people who showed up in the last week to enable this moment to happen. I have mentors, I have friends, I have people that I'm in support structures with, and they all were there for different parts of this awakening phase, this little breakthrough of the last few weeks. And today, the Solitude is in existence because, thankfully, Grandpa and Grandma took the two little ones to Great Uncle Charlie's pool. And I want to say thank you to Great Uncle Charlie for opening the pool and being willing to host everyone in the middle of a pandemic. I hope that you're social distancing still and disinfecting everything. And that said, I want to thank my sister and brother, too, who took my oldest into the woods up north here in Michigan. That's something that she was long desiring and was really begging for. So she's been up in the woods this last week, and I'm grateful that she will continue her family summer camping experience as they take an adventure even further up north into the Upper Peninsula in Tahquamenon Falls, which is a beautiful place that will feed her soul, and I know that will be good for her. And I want to say thank you to my hardworking husband, who even as I'm recording this, in the complete, glorious, comfortable silence, he's out walking many, many, many miles a day and learning new skills and techniques and technology at Amazon, where he's a problem solver and learning to go on the floor with the robots. So congratulations to him and helping stand firm during this time with us. And I want to say thank you to you. You, my YouTube listener, follower, friend, you have been watching so far, and I want to let you know that our connection matters, and I appreciate you. I hope that you see something in my story that resonates, something that tells you you're not alone. And if any of my thoughts have really resonated, please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear what's come up for you or what has resonated. And whatever it was that hit home for you in my story, I hope that you are blessed by it. And I urge you, I really urge you, do not ignore the signs and signals calling to you, asking you for deep self-care. Whatever it is, find a way to give yourself that gift. For me, it's been the silence, and I appreciate it. Stay tuned, stay healthy, stay well, stay happy and hopeful, and follow, like, and subscribe so that we can continue this conversation as we navigate these turbulent times, these uncertain terrains, because you're more than that, anything going on in your life, and I am too. But we learn it one day at a time, better and better every day. Thank you for joining.